Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Hope you guys are all doing really well. If you're new to my channel, then welcome. I do a lot of study, career and personal finance related videos here on my channel. I also have an Instagram page as well dedicated to this stuff. So if that's something of interest to you, then be sure to subscribe and follow my Instagram. I will leave it up here for you guys to check out. So for today's video, as you can tell by the title, I wanted to talk through some of the workplace etiquette rules that we think we need to follow, and these are all basically unspoken of, so I thought it would just be a very funny concept to just talk through some of the workplace etiquettes that I've noticed in my time working in the industry. So I just wanted to share some etiquettes that I've come across and I feel like are hilarious because they're all sort of these, perceptions or assumptions that we make in our heads, and we feel like, we need to follow these rules, otherwise, our managers are going to be, angry at us, or, it's not a good look. So I thought this would be a very funny video, and I just thought it'd just be a little bit of fun as well and enjoyable and a bit different from the type of content that I have here on my channel. So in no particular order, I'm going to start off with the first one. I've got my list here in front of me. This took me some time to figure out, but I think this is really funny, so I really wanted to share it with you. So the first one being that you always need to sort of make yourself be online and be available online. And given that we're all sort of, working from home these days due to COVID, I feel like the idea of, just being present, making sure that you are available online and you've got like a green sort of status symbol next to your name. This is a funny one because a lot of people, they say, oh, you don't need to be online. You can be flexible. It's fine. It's agile working. You can work to the hours that suit you. But in all honesty, like if you see someone that isn't online, you just like thinking, like what is that person up to? Like what are they doing? Why aren't they working? So I feel like there is that sort of underlying assumption there, and this is something that we've all created in our minds, even though it may not even be a thing. So yeah, I thought that one was really funny. The next one I've got here is making sure that you log in at 9 a.m. otherwise you're considered late. Now, obviously, we're working from home, so you can really start at any time, but I feel like 9 a.m. is the time to start. If you're starting earlier, that's totally fine. You may have some work to do, but I think if you start any later than 9, then people are just there looking at, Skype or Microsoft Teams or whatever it is that you guys use for work, chatting purposes, where it displays the status of if you're online, available, away, read, in a meeting, whatever it is. But if you're not there at 9 a.m., even though you may feel like, even though it's not said anywhere, it's all flexible, etc., but there's always eyes, around the office, around the team that are always making sure, that they check in and is available online at, 9 a.m. at their scheduled start time. So I thought this was a really funny one as well because, yeah, people say you can work flexibly, but I feel like in my times of working, this has been something that is not always followed. Yes, it's flexible, but there was a time where, I'm not going to say which job it was in, but there was a time where I had rocked up at work at about 9:15, and my team were like, you're late. And I was like, what do you mean? I was just missed the bus, and it was just, I'm 10-15 minutes late. What's the big deal? They're like, oh, your work starts, your contract says 8:45, so you should be here at 8:45. It's not a good look. And I'm like, it's not a good look for who? Like, I don't even have any meetings. I don't have anything scheduled. So I'm not saying that I'm going to cut the hours short. Definitely going to do all my hours, but I'm happy to stay back if I don't finish my time. But, if I don't have anything, why do I need to be there at 8:45? Like, it doesn't align with my schedule. So yeah, I thought that was a bit of a funny one. Next one is taking longer than 1 hour lunch breaks. I think this is a funny one. It's always something that people are conscious of, saying, oh, I've got like, 45 minutes of a lunch break, and oh, I've only got like now 1 minute left. I have to go back on. I have to log back on. It's like, why get so stressed out just because you need to log in? Make sure you haven't gone past that 45 minutes or an hour. Because, people are worried that someone's going to see them, that they've taken an extra minute, an extra 2-3 minutes. So this is something that I've definitely seen and I think is hilarious. So yeah, I wanted to share that one as well. Okay, now this is probably the biggest one that I want to mention. I think this is the funniest one because honestly, I felt this as well. And it's one of the reasons why I don't like the whole sort of corporate culture because of this, and that is, if you take a sickie on a Friday or a Monday, you are made to feel like you're guilty, that you've done something wrong and you're not actually sick and you're just faking it and you're just chucking a sickie. So this is something that I find very annoying actually, and it's just like this etiquette, or this, not even an etiquette, it's just like this unspoken sort of thing that, you know, if you take a sickie on Friday, oh, you know, you're bludging, you're having a long weekend, you take it on a Monday, oh, you weren't ready for the week to start, like, oh, that's why. Like, can you not just accept that that person is taking a sickie? They're entitled to sickies. If they've taken one, it's not affecting their work. Like, why do you need to make a comment on that? So I think this is a big one, and this is definitely something that I have gone through as well, a lot in my previous jobs, where, you know, there was genuine times where I was actually sick. I had, like, you know, knee issues, back issues. I had to do all my checkups as well. So I think people add their commentary for no real reason, and this is something that is really unwanted and doesn't need to be said because it's none of their business. So yeah, this is a really big one, and I think it's something that I don't know if it will go away, but it's something that really annoys me. Another sort of workplace etiquette which I've noticed is there's always a few people in the team that are always sort of, you know, saying yes to everything, and they're saying yes because they want to come across as, you know, the ones that are favored, the ones that are always sort of referred to, so that they can really be in your face and in the face of managers, just so that they can get promoted. They will say yes to everything and anything just because they're maybe afraid of saying no, that they're maybe going to lose their job, or, you know, saying no, that they might not get promoted. So yeah, there's always sort of that vibe that if you say no, then you're in the bad books of the managers. There's been a lot of times where I've said no as well, and I think it's totally fine because you need to see what works for you, and if you can't take on that work, then you shouldn't be saying yes, and you need to be honest and upfront. But if you've got free time, then I don't see a reason why you can't, you know, say yes. Another one I want to mention, this is the funny one, I saw this a lot in my previous workplaces, and that is, hi guys, just jumping in today to mention today's sponsor, which is Skillshare. Basically, Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes for creative and curious people. You're able to explore new skills, deepen existing passions, and get lost in creativity. Skillshare is curated specifically for learning, meaning there are no ads, and they're always launching new premium classes so you can stay focused and follow wherever your creativity takes you. Alright guys, so one of the classes that I've recently been taking is the Intro to Web Design, 10 Ways to Use Wix to Build Your Business. This is by Alexa Roberts, who is a web designer. She's solving small business plans, and a lot of you who have followed me from the beginning are aware that, you know, I am looking to start creating my own website and potentially a business around that. As you can see on the right side, there's a bit of a breakdown of, you know, what is sort of entailed in the course. So a lot of good stuff there that can really sort of help kickstart your web building journey. Now, a little bit about the class as well. If you scroll down, you can have a look here. So Skillshare have thousands of online classes available. Some topics include illustration, graphic design, creative writing, animation, production, film and video, marketing, productivity, freelance, and entrepreneurship, and honestly the list could go on. And what I love about Skillshare is that it is less than $10 a month with an annual subscription. So if this sounds like something you would be interested in, then definitely click the link in the description box below, because the first 1,000 subscribers to click the link in the description box below will get a free trial of the premium membership, which is honestly amazing, and that too ad-free. Now back to the video. Volunteering all the time, volunteering for, you know, doing little things, volunteering to do this, that, on top of your normal workload. I think this is a funny one because, you know, it's sort of perceived that if you are always volunteering and, you know, you're always sort of, you know, getting everyone together, you're a great team player, you're, you know, amazing at everything you do, compared to those that don't, you know, volunteer to take up, you know, things within the team, taking care of a few things. So yeah, I think this is a really funny sort of etiquette where people just always volunteer and always raising their hand just to sort of prove themselves. I think is definitely an interesting one. Moving on to the next one, and that is asking a question just for the sake of asking a question. Because I know there's been a lot of times in meetings, especially, where people feel like, you know, they're not sort of contributing to that meeting and they feel like they're left out, so they will contribute just for the sake of contributing, and it may not make sense. It may just be a statement, not a question. But I think this is really funny because you feel the pressure. You feel like, oh, you haven't contributed, so that may look bad on you, and it may not sort of, help you with maybe your performance review or your promotion prospects. So yeah, people just contribute without having anything valuable to say, and I think that's a funny one. Moving on to the next one, and that was networking and socializing like it is your job. So people that, go above and beyond to go out of their way to meet and greet and always be that smiley person and always going above and beyond to, make connections. I get this is really, really sort of good to do for your career, but I mean, there's a sort of limit as well. You don't want to always be, always just leaving your work. In fact, if you're always socializing and networking, you're never really going to get your job done, are you? So I think this is an interesting one. There's always that one person that is that person that's always, just going above and beyond, going to other teams, going to other divisions, and just to get recognized as well. But yeah, this is something which I think is something that we all think that we should do. Moving on to the next one, and that is staying back late at work because it is good etiquette. And oh my God, this actually happened to me where I was in my previous job and I was working within the external audit division, and I was seconded out to a client, and it was just really weird because I had finished up all of my work for the day, and there was really nothing else on my plate, but the rest of the team hadn't finished up, and I thought that I could leave, and I had done all of my work for that day. And I think it was like 6:30, 7 p.m. And I was like, okay guys, I'm leaving. And then they were like, oh wait, can you just help out with this? And I was like, that's not on my to-do list, and that wasn't on my to-do list for the entire day. So why are you getting me to do it at 6:30 or 7 o'clock when I'm, ready to go home? I've packed up almost. So yeah, I think that etiquette that you need to stay back with your team until all the work is done, I think is a little unfair. And especially for me, coming from like internal audit and doing a secondment in external audit, we never had those rules in internal audit. It was quite flexible. It's your task, you do it, move on. But of course, if the team needs help, like, let me know in the beginning of the day, not at like 6:30 p.m, 7 p.m. when I'm ready to leave. It's not a good sort of work etiquette to have, but I feel like a lot of teams have sort of developed that way, and that's how it is. I just was new to that environment, and I just didn't know that you had to stay back even though you had finished all your work, and you need to wait for the team to finish as well. So yeah. Moving on to the next one, the other workplace etiquette is that you immediately have to respond to managers' emails or messages because you think that they think that you're not working. I hope that makes sense. So if a manager emails you, messages you, calls you, you feeling like, oh my God, I need to like stop whatever it is that I'm doing to pick up that call, to make sure I respond, even if you're like, logged off for a little bit, and you're just taking a break, you feel that urge or that sort of weird feeling that you need to, respond to them immediately because you don't want them to think badly of you or think, that you're not working. So this has definitely been something I've noticed in previous workplaces as well, where, you would be on a break, but if a manager calls you on your work phone and you see it there, or messages you, then you're quick to respond, but you're on your lunch break. You're entitled to that lunch break. So I feel like if it's not urgent, they shouldn't really be contacting you, and you shouldn't have to obviously respond immediately as well. Obviously, if it's urgent, you would know it's urgent as well. But all right, now moving on to the next one, and that is pretending like you are busy all the time. This is something I think that everyone basically goes through, where you need to pretend like you're busy and working, and especially in front of managers. If they walk around, if anyone senior walks around, you need to pretend like, yeah, you're busy, you're like, churning out the report, you're like, smashing it out. So I think this is really funny. And then whenever we do get sort of that break and we do go on our phones, and then you see manager walking past, you just put your phone down slowly. And I feel like this is something that I've seen a lot of people do, and I've honestly done this myself as well, and I think it's just the most funniest thing. You are entitled to a break. You're not required to be like constant 24/7 working. Like, you can take a break, you can check your phone. That's why you've got your phone on your table. So I think, yeah, this is definitely a funny one, and I think one that is very relatable to a lot of people. And finally, the last etiquette, I think, which is so funny and it's so relatable to me, and that is, not staying back all the time for after work drinks, not, socializing, considered to be maybe a party pooper as well. I think this was something that I definitely experienced, especially when I did have a YouTube channel early on. I didn't really know how to manage my time, so I wouldn't stay back for after work drinks like all the time. Obviously, there were certain times that I would, but majority of the time I would go home because I would need to edit a video. And I just felt like people would just look at me differently, like, oh, this girl doesn't know how to have fun. She's always just like working busy and she's never like spends time with the team. Where in actual fact, I was there for all of the team events that were scheduled, but staying back for after work drinks, I think it's good once in a while, because you want to socialize and just like let loose once in a while, but not every week for me. That was definitely not something I was interested in. I feel like I had better things to do, and I don't want to just spend my time with my work colleagues on a Friday afternoon every single week just drinking for hours. So yeah, and just to tag along with that one, I think the one around you having to go for coffee runs with the team as well, I think is a funny one. Like, for example, if you're not a coffee drinker like I am, sometimes I do drink coffee, but most times I don't. And if the team is sort of, going for a coffee run, they ask you, and then if you say you're busy with work, then they sort of like, look differently towards you. So I think this is definitely a funny one and something that I've experienced. Yeah, you can't just sort of, create those negative sort of barriers or negative relationships within the team, especially if it's your working team as well. It's going to affect you, and it's definitely going to affect the person that is feeling this way. So yeah, I feel like this is something I've seen a lot of, even with other people as well. Them just having to go for these coffee runs or coffee breaks just because they feel like they might be missing out on certain information. They're not part of the clique, they're not part of the inside jokes, etc. So yeah, this is something that I've definitely seen and yeah, experienced as well. So guys, those are all of the workplace etiquettes or assumptions that we feel we need to follow in order to be hired and to maintain our jobs. This is something that I've definitely experienced and I've seen a lot of people go through as well. These are all basically unspoken of, and you would only really speak about these things with people that aren't actually in your workplace or in the office with you, working with you. Generally, you tend to speak to this with your partners, friends, family, just to let them know how you're feeling. This happens in every single workplace, and it's so funny that it does. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is, and it's going to take a massive sort of shift, mindset shift, process shift, what it is, I don't know what it's called, but yeah, I wanted to share those with you just because I thought it would be really funny. And yeah, I hope you guys really enjoyed that one. Do let me know if I missed out on any of the etiquettes that you sort of have seen in your workplace or you have seen in other workplaces. Then definitely comment them down below. I'd love to know, and I think a lot of other people would love to know as well, just so that we can sort of relate and we feel like we're a part of a community. So yeah, guys, I hope you really enjoyed that video. If you did, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe by hitting the subscribe button down below. And that is it, guys. I will catch you guys in my next video. Thanks, guys.